Mandy Lane, the character, Mandy Lane, is, in essence, she's everything that a man or a woman kind of wants. The women want to be her, and the men want to be with her. And it is a threat, especially because the characters are written pretty accurately, I feel. They serve as pretty accurate reflections of real life, of real high school, of those girls we all knew and those boys that we all knew. And the girls, I think, are threatened, as naturally they are in high school, by everything. And the insecurities do a lot to, the insecurities speak for themselves. And the reason I feel like she's not so much a target of these jokes or these stabs, is because the girls are kind of in on it. The girls are kind of part of this plot to get Mandy alone in order to win favor with the boys. They're doing it, you know, to kind of appeal to the boys, to get the attention that they want from the boys, to validate themselves, and the boys want to get Mandy. So the girls are doing, you know, they're part of this kind of plot. They're in on it, and they're I feel like they're purposely not attacking Mandy up front because they don't want her to run off. They don't want the plan to fall through. After all, then what? How can they appease the boys who set them up on it, you know? It's very interesting to me, and a huge reason that why I'm interested, or why I was interested in taking on this role, is that she looks like that, you know? And she looks like the archetype. She looks like the scream queen, you know? And that's what makes her so well written and such a complex character. And I like that because there aren't so many strong female characters written into scripts these days, at least that I read or that I have a chance to play, they just don't really exist. And because it's that way, this script kind of mocks society in a sense, and it gives you exactly what you think you're going to get, and then it slaps you in the face with it in a sense. It's hard because I do get a little frustrated in living in Los Angeles. I am blonde, I am a girl, you know, and it is almost a little frustrating because the amount of scripts, the amount of movies that have already been made, or will be made, with the typical character, the typical female character that is there as a stepping stone for the male character to get the message across. They are the beautiful one, they are the girlfriends, they are those specific parts, and they're not hardly anything more. And since those are so popular in Hollywood, and those are pretty much what's out there, it's very valuable to me when I get a script that is difficult, that is complex, that is real, that is anything beyond how I look. And that's what's so great about this script. It appears that it's all about how I look. It opens with a narration about how beautiful I look, and it's all about how I look, because I don't even speak so much during, you know, a lot of it. And that's what, I feel like it mocks you in that sense, and gives you exactly what you paid to see, and then changes it on you, slaps you in the face with it, you know, and it's very valuable to me when I get a script of a strong female character, a well-written character, complex or an intelligent one. I admire Charlize Theron greatly for using her beauty to get her roles, to get her popularity, and then also taking it away from us to teach us a lesson that there's so much more out there to a character, to actors, actresses, than how they look. And she did so in Monster. She took that away from the audience and still did an amazing job. And that's powerful. That gives me goosebumps. It's why I'm in this business. Other actresses include like Cate Blanchett and Julia Roberts and Sharon Stone. There are few and far between, but very inspiring. As an actor, it's always really important, the vibe that you get from the actor, from the director. It's very important because essentially what the final product turns out to be is a collaboration of your vision of the character and the director's vision of the movie and how your character is a part of it. And that collaboration, if done properly, makes a great film, I believe. And instantly, I had nothing to go on. I didn't really know much about Jonathan. He was a first-time director. I couldn't watch anything that he's done. So it was a lot about faith and that connection that I'm speaking of. And it was that moment when I walked into the room and talked about my character and instantly connected with him. And instantly knew that the collaboration that both of us would, the opinions and the ideas that both of us were going to bring to the table would make ultimately the perfect collaboration, and it did. And I'm very lucky, and he's an amazing director. He's so talented, and his vision, when he spoke about what he wanted to do, it was so strong, and I could do nothing but trust him. I moved to LA, and I instantly got sent back home to my hometown, Austin, Texas, to shoot this film. Within, I think this is probably the first movie I did in LA, or second movie I did in LA. And then, and I instantly had to go back home and film there. So it was nice. It was kind of ironic, but great. Loved it. It was really comfortable to be at home. And I was really, essentially, for the whole duration of filming this project, not so much at home, I was in the middle of a field, which could be anywhere. So it wasn't particularly comforting to be there, specifically speaking, but I did like going home again and filming for the first time in my hometown from LA. That was nice. And we did a lot of the shooting in a big field out in the middle of nowhere. And we filmed in the summer, late summer, early fall, and it was hot, and it was very familiar to me. I'm used to it, but I love it, and it turned out well. What's particular to this script and this situation is that we did film in a very remote area. We filmed in a, I guess it's a vacant house, colonial style, huge country house. It's like this beautiful home, but deserted. We're in the middle of nowhere. It takes a long, long time to reach help and for anyone to hear you scream, so to speak. And what's generally happens on set is you spend all this time, we work for long, long hours filming, and you spend all this time away from home, generally, with a group of strangers, your castmates, and by the time it's all said and done, you're like a family. You spend all this time together in a remote place, away from home, you definitely bond. And particular to this situation, we were really in a remote area and had no option but to bond, So it was great. It was really great. We had a really strong underlying bond between us, especially at the end. The director, we have one scene in the opening, and it is the opening shot, I believe, and it basically, the camera is all over my body. Only for a minute on my face, too, which is interesting. And the director had to explain himself when we shot that, because it's not like I'm not going to notice. And we're shooting it, and I'm looking at the top of the camera, what's with that? And he had to explain himself, and he made a really excellent point. If you're a director or you're an audience member and you watch a movie, you are the lens of the camera. Your eyes are the lens of the camera, and that's what's so powerful about film. And if you're sitting in the audience and you want to be a part of this situation, which is in the opening shot, a high school hallway, then you have to see like the characters are seeing her. And so the camera literally moves over my body, and it sends a very powerful message to the audience. They're saying, this is what everyone in the hallway is looking at. And that's why it's so specific to certain parts of my body and not so much my face necessarily, is because it's sending a really strong message to say that that's what Mandy's going through, that people are watching that, or people are focused on that, or she's getting attention in this sense. So it takes the responsibility away from you to think for yourself as an audience member and says, you might look at myself walking down the hallway and see something that the characters, don't necessarily. And in this case, he looks for you as a director. He moves the camera and moves your eyes for you and says, no, actually, you're not going to think for yourself. You're going to think like everyone else is in the scene, and that makes you a part of it. It's really powerful. When I read Mandy Lane and prepared to be her, I made certain decisions as an actor to create an impression of a real undertone of insecurity and power at the same time, of an awkwardness and uncomfortableness with the fact that she's so beautiful, yet being so powerful with her beauty and knowing. And it's hard to find a balance between those. Those are very different things. And I, as an actor, that was what was so challenging about the role, is making decisions like that. And the physicality that you see in the scene where I have to disrobe and jump into the pond, for example, the awkwardness that you see as an audience, it's supposed to be, it's supposed to demonstrate that sense of Mandy isn't like the other two girls that are in the script. She's not begging for that attention. She's not needing it. In fact, it's kind of like she's uncomfortable with that attention, and it's intriguing. She's such a powerful character, and it's such a great script. It's written so well. At the end, it just throws you for a loop. The biggest challenge to me for this particular part, for this particular person, this character, was finding a delicate balance between two very, very different things that both needed to be represented, if that makes any sense. It's like she does not, as an audience, I don't want to establish hatred for her, I don't want to establish a sense of animosity towards this girl, because she's already beautiful physically, and that will create animosity naturally, especially in the female audience. But the balance is created from also making her vulnerable, but then not weak, and not arrogant and too full of herself so that you hate her. But if she was too vulnerable and a victim, you wouldn't love her. So it's finding that balance while maintaining the truth of the character is definitely difficult, and what's so fun. As you'll see in this movie, that especially if you've seen it once, you've seen the ending, and you watch it a second time, there aren't really so many clues that give the ending away. And I made that decision very specifically because I wanted it to be consistent. And it's always a collaboration between you and the director, and both of your opinions matter greatly, and the combination of the two is what ultimately makes something really good. But it was both Jonathan and I's kind of, now that I think it was more a decision that I made as an actor, and I said, Jonathan, this is important to me. I don't want it to be another one of those films that you watch it, and then the second time you watch it, and the second time and you think through the whole film, oh, there's a clue, and there's a clue, and there's a clue. I didn't want it to be that way. I wanted it to be consistent. And I think it was just a decision I made as an actor, and that he let me do and let me be as an actor. It's like the actors make decisions constantly to make the audience sympathize with their characters. Villains, heroes, sympathy is really important, I think, for actors to instate. And the decision to protect the character's image to the audience, and to protect a sense of sympathy and install a sense of sympathy, is often like a decision made. And I wanted this to be very organic as playing somewhere like this could be. And I didn't want to make excuses for her, and I didn't necessarily want you to sympathize with her. The sympathy, that is important, essentially, should come from a sense of reality, and that everyone watches the news and sees these school shootings and whatnot, especially in America, and everybody knows that this is going on in society today, to a great extent. No dramatics. This is going on, and I think we all know, that the people that are bullied often are the perpetrators, and the victim. The roles are reversed, and they're claiming to be victims of this society and these bullies, and it's made them do this horrible thing, right? And so often we watch the news and we see this, right? And I don't think I needed to do anything to install my past and install a sense of sympathy, because we all watch the news and know that these kids are acting this way because they're speaking out and they're trying to break out, but no excuses. You don't need it. She is strange and off, and the reality behind the script. Once the film rolls its end credits, you walk out on the street and you're still in reality, and that's alone speaks for the situation, and I didn't need to do much to explain my past. I mean, she's the antagonist. She's the bad guy, So this is the end of the DVD, right? She is the bad guy, and I don't want to make excuses to make her better or make it, right, or seem that it's okay. But this is art. This is a movie, and she's kind of like a vigilante in a weird way. She's like the hero for the bullied kids, because we all were in that situation one time in our life or not. I mean, people look at me and they're always like, oh, so, how was it like being prom queen? And I'm like, no, actually, it sucked. And I think we do feel like, I think there is a sense of kind of connection for her, and she is kind of this weird hero, and in a weird way. If we look at reality, it's sad and it's horrible, what really happens. But this is a movie, and it is really exciting that she kind of gets one up on them, Someone once asked me how Mandy Lane was like Amber Heard, like myself. And the answer to that question, I felt, but I couldn't give the answer away. I mean, the ending. But the answer that I felt like saying was, if you're asking if I, Amber Heard, go around, or in high school, went around killing off classmates that pissed me off on the weekends in some ranch, I would say, no, not so much, not on the weekends anyway. But although I would have liked to, and I think we all would have. I think that's what's great about it. So I think we all wouldn't have mind serving some justice. In high school, I was part of the clique that didn't go to school. I didn't really spend a lot of time in school. In the normal sense. I broke away. I was very independent, and I broke away from high school to move out at a young age, and then focused on getting my diploma and finishing my classes on my own. And I did it through home studies and correspondence courses, so I was very independent. And I think that there's a real sense in high school of the opposite, of not being independent, not being an individual. I think so much of high school is based on fitting in, and the necessity to do that, and the anxiety of doing that right. And I think it affects people for the rest of their lives in a horrible way. I think it's horrible. And I think my escape from that was a lucky one, because I didn't feel like I related to anyone in high school so much. I had friends when I was in high school, and I made really great grades and was a good student, but then I just stepped out of it and said, I'll do this on my own. I don't need to hit up prom. And it was really funny, because I would call my friends back home that I went to high school with after I'd moved out at 16, 17 years old, and I'd say, so how is it? And they would be talking to me with such excitement about prom, or the gossip with what cheerleader was dating who. And I remember thinking to myself as I'm like, you know, paying bills, listening to this, thinking like, I don't know anything about this world, and I don't feel like I missed out. That's for sure. So I think it's a process that I lucked out on missing. When I was in high school and in middle school, I pursued drama, and my drama teacher, Mr. Clausia, he was amazing, and it was the only class I liked to go to, and that meant a lot. I mean, I made excellent grades in high school, but I hated to show up, and so I would always make it to my drama class. I was never late. I was the last one out, in fact, you know, and I loved drama so much in high school, and I finally got presented with an opportunity in my, you know, I was young, to move out to LA. I met my agent and connected with her immediately, and I got an opportunity and took it, ran really fast. I actually told my parents the day before I moved out, and I said, actually, I'm going to go to LA, and I'm hopping on a plane tomorrow. And that stems from a really deep-rooted love of this job. You know, when I was a kid, I had a video camera, and I used to make movies, and I loved it. It's a sense of immortality you get, you know, speaking in a vanity sense. It's that sense of like of a message. And I remember when I was a teenager going to this independent art cinema in Austin, and sitting there watching sometimes 3 movies at a time, or you know, back to back. And I remember my mother sitting me down once and asking me very seriously, like, why is it you like movies so much? Like, is it like very concerned? Like, maybe she thought I was going to shoot the school. I don't know. Like, she was very concerned with my my isolation in the art cinema. But in any case, it changed my life. I fell in love with good films, and mostly they were independent. And I remember seeing Whale Rider, directed by Nicky Caro, and thinking that film is the media right now. No one spends a lot of time reading books anymore. I mean, it's a shame people don't read more, but if you're going to get a message across, or you want to tell a story, even if it's just to entertain, the outlet to do it is entertainment, whether it's music or film. I mean, that's today, you know? And I understand this, and I want to tell stories, and I want to get a message across. I want to change people, in a sense, and this is the way to do it. They always say that the happy artist is a starving artist. It makes me nervous, in a sense, but a lot of my job entails reading scripts and turning a lot of stuff down, throwing away a lot of scripts, because it's hard to find a movie like this one with a character like Mandy Lane, you know, someone that I can take on, artistically speaking, and be completely fulfilled in doing. And there's a lot out there that's so under par. It is hard to find a balance between selling a movie that you know will have a message and has artistic merit. I'm an artist, you know. I want to be a part of things that are of good quality. But like I said, I want to be in this industry because I want to influence people, and I want to tell stories, and I want to change lives in a sense. And I'm in the perfect outlet and perfect media to do this. And so you have to find a very, very hard balance between something that will sell and influence people, and doing those things that are hard to find, hard to run across, like those strong female characters, those great artistic movies, those independent films, frankly, that might not ever be seen. So it's you know, to be in this business to influence people, you've got to have people in the theaters to see it. So you have to find a very delicate balance between doing something that's commercial enough, yet artistically fulfilling. But I have luckily in my career had amazing success at doing just that. And every project that I've worked on, pretty much I can say that about and rest easy at night. It's funny because when I was young and I would go to this cinema and see these movies, and I saw Whale Rider directed by Nicky Caro, and that was like a moment I can remember tangibly, in the sense that I wanted to be an actor, and that was what I was going to do. I had yet to do it, but I wanted that, and I knew it, and I had made a decision at a very young age to do it. And I'm 17 years old, and Nikki Carl has this movie Well Rider that I see. And I was like 16 years old. And I made this decision, and very ironically, or luckily, I get to Hollywood, and I get rolling on my career, and the first movie I get cast in, or one of the first films, series films that I did, was directed by Nikki Carl. She cast me in my first major project, and I couldn't believe that. You know, like that meant the world to me. And also, funny enough, I was strongly influenced by Charlize Theron as an actress, and she influenced me greatly to get into this business. And who do I play? I play Charlize Theron in my first movie. So it was really funny to me, because both of those together, it was ironic in a very lucky. I'm very lucky to have that experience. Drama is a passion of mine. Acting is a passion. Film is a passion, and I love it. And hopefully, it will produce, happily, the freedom for me in the future to do other things too, that also kind of supplement the reason I'm in this business in the first place, like telling stories and changing lives and influencing and opening eyes and challenging people, changing opinions or reinforcing them, whatever it is. I can do that in other outlets too, and I would love to, whether it's producing documentaries, whether it is like Charlize Theron, or producing independent films, or writing them, or directing. I mean, you know, there are so many outlets, and I would someday really love to produce films that also did what I want to do, tell a story. Because I'm an actor and I spend so much time on set and watching the directors and watching everybody on set, everyone has their job and their role, and the director has all of them. And because I'm an actor and I see that and I see how hard they work, I'm not so quick to jump into that I want to be a director slot just quite yet. I think actors, it really qualifies you a lot to do it well, because you learn so much being on my side of the camera, but I can't imagine the responsibility that the directors have. I'm not so excited about someday taking that on. But I would love to produce or be a part of it in other ways. I hope to definitely vary my roles quite a bit, but I would love to play more villains. It's much more fun.